Welcome everyone to Marketing Tips Tuesday with Practicefuel. My name is Brian Devine, and I am excited to be talking to you about something that I don't think people talk about enough, because we always talk about ways to drive traffic, ways to get more people into your practice, and I want to kind of take a little bit of a sidetrack here, because let me give you a little context, right? So we talk about those 9 steps, right? The 9 steps that we always put everybody through so that we can make sure that we get the best possible long-term results for our clients. And what we are talking about today are new patients on demand. So hopefully we got the title right, and it says new patients on demand. But what I really want to hone in on today is kind of what your options are for new patients on demand. So what does that look like? How do you create new patients on demand? And obviously, what we focus on is online marketing. And so what are the ways to do that? But I want to focus on something that we've been working on diligently for the last 2 years. And we've got good systems in place. But I want you to be thinking about this, because I'm going to give you a secret, and that is Facebook Messenger ads. And if you've never heard of it or never tried it, Facebook Messenger ads are still a low-cost way to have a conversation, sort of, with people who are interested in your services. Now, something that we kind of brought up last year is that the new lead, or the new marketing key performance indicator, is a conversation. And it's no longer just somebody saying, yeah, I'm interested. It's how do we have conversations with people, and how do we do it in as an automated way, as much as an automated way as possible. And Facebook Messenger bots help us do that. And the reason that I want to talk about this today is because we run all kinds of ads on all different platforms, and Facebook ads are getting more and more expensive. So we've been kind of moving back into some other options, but what we're finding is that messenger ads are still low cost. So because people don't really do that, they don't really know how to optimize for messenger ads, and they don't know how to drive people to a conversation that doesn't require somebody sitting there all the time, that Facebook is sort of keeping the prices a little bit lower on those, because the competition is not quite the same. And that doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden cut your ad costs in half, but it is going to have a nice little impact where you might be able to spend the same, but get an extra 20-30% more out of the dollars that you spend. And the tip that I'm going to make sure that I impart on you today is that Facebook Messenger, especially when you automate it, meaning that you've got a bot that is going to have a conversation with people, is to make it as conversational as possible without trying to pretend like it's not a bot. Because people are smart, right? That even though we have just a fraction of their attention, they kind of know that this is a bot. That doesn't mean we don't want to put little pauses and little typing things. But what happens is that if you try to pretend like it is a real person, and then it goes through a sequence where it repeats or it asks the same question twice, they're going to know, right? They're going to know that this isn't a person. Or if it's if you send an image, which I do recommend, images are really fun to send. But if you do that, and it doesn't take very long for it to go from the question or you click a button to sending out an image, then people are going to figure out pretty fast. So don't try to pretend like you're not a bot, and make sure that you have an option for people to talk to a human. And then just, again, these bots are really, really powerful. And yes, we have a tool that will help you do that. But I want you really thinking about how can you take advantage of Facebook Messenger ads, and then using chat bots to automate the process of having a conversation. And it's that conversation that gets people engaged. So if they're showing an interest in your service, and you say, hey, are you this or this? And they just choose one or two. And are you thinking about this or this? Choice of 3. I wouldn't ever do more than 3, right? 3 is really going to be your max. Sometimes if we're talking about down payment options, you can expand that. I typically like to do odd numbers, but again, I like to do just an A or B or a 1, 2, 3. And that, again, just trying to keep things simple. And then by utilizing these tools, you can have a conversation and have it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to be open or even paying attention. You just want to make sure that during business hours that you're checking if anyone has said, yeah, I'd like to talk to a human. And make sure that you have something in place where people can say, yeah, I actually want to talk to someone in the office, because then, hey, there's a hot lead. But by having this conversation and by kind of figuring out what it is that they're interested in and what their level of interest is, you don't waste time with people that are going to just, tap a button and say, oh, sure, I'll fill that out. They fill out a form, and then you go to follow up and they don't even remember filling out the form. Or, we've even gone, so far as to put them on a schedule, and they don't even remember why they were even put on a schedule. Like, why are you calling? What is this all about? So having a conversation where they are engaging with basically your practice through a chatbot helps us create that connection. And that is what it's all about. Because if we can create that connection, do it in an automated fashion, then when the handover happens, when it's time for you to engage with that person, they remember having the conversation with the chatbot. They remember this process of answering questions and kind of having fun with it. Because if you remember at the very beginning, I said the secret is to make sure that it's as conversational as possible. So don't use any corporate speak. Don't use big words. Use slang. Use just common vernacular that's common in your area. So it might be different in Colorado as it will be in New Jersey or somewhere in the Northeast or California or somewhere in the South. Use the vernacular that's common in your area, because that will help people flow through the process. And one extra tip that I want to throw out there, and this is something that we are really going to be diving into heavily this year, is personalization. There are ways now where, like, you remember I said sending a picture is a really valuable thing to do. So having engagement and using pictures and videos to create that engagement is extremely powerful. Well, there's now ways that you can send the information that you're gathering through the chat bot, through this conversation, to software that will then create a picture that can go back to that person and have their name in the picture. So why would you do that? Well, one, everyone's favorite word in every language in the world is their name. So if you can grab their name and have it put into an image, it makes them feel special, and they of course feel good because it's their favorite word. Seeing their name, hearing their name is extremely, extremely powerful. And if you can do that in an automated way, that's kind of fun, right? So that they're like, oh wow, how did they do that? You have engaged their imagination. You have engaged with them in a way that they are not used to, so they'll remember you. So again, when it's time for the transfer, where it's time for you to actually talk to this person who has shown interest, they remember everything, because they're going to remember that one thing that set you apart from everyone else, and that was personalization. So if you have questions about how that all works and what we can do to help you, we're here to do that. And if you've never tried Facebook Messenger ads before, start thinking about it. If you have a marketing firm you're working with, talk to them about, hey, we should be doing this. How does it work? What do you have? Because it is still one of the more effective ways to have a conversation with people, and conversations are much more important than just getting someone to fill out a form. Okay, I hope you found some value in today's conversation, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Marketing Tips Tuesday with Practicefuel. That's it for me. Bye for now.